Welcome back to Lawyer Tina's channel. This is a new introduction. Today, I'm excited to host one of my very good friends. She's a lawyer too. And I've had a lot of people ask questions. If I don't want to go and do litigation as a lawyer, what else can I do? If I don't want to go to court, what else can I do? You know what we do here? We try to break the law down so that everybody will understand. You know Ernestina already. I'm Ernestina. I am a public defender. I go to court almost every day. But then I have a friend here who has not been to court for like the past 3 years. But she's a lawyer and she gets paid, she gets her money, she looks good, she's enjoying. So I wanted to tell you what she's been doing, which is different from what I do. And maybe you may want to do something like that. So I'll ask her all the questions that you want me to ask. And then if you have further questions, put them in the comment section. I'll host it another time, then we can move forward. So, hey, I'm introducing you to my friend, Duffy. Duffy, can you please introduce yourself to...
Hi, Lawyer Tina fans. I'm Kesoa Duffy. As Tina said, yes, I haven't been to court in a very, very long time. I'm a corporate lawyer. I specialize in oil and gas, so energy and natural resources and infrastructure as well. And yeah, that's it about my law practice.
Oil and gas, infrastructure. Ooh, that sounds like a lot of money. If you ask me, I'll say, oh, me, I do. Somebody has stolen goats. Somebody has stolen. And goat is like 500 cities or 1,000 cities. Then when you say oil and gas, infrastructure, I mean, break it down for someone who doesn't know exactly what goes into some of these things. So if you say you're an oil and gas lawyer, what are some of the things that you do? Your type of clients and all of that. I am learning. I also don't know.
Okay, so let me back up and say that I am into the extractive sector. So basically, when we say, for example, oil and gas, petroleum, we all heard way back in 2006 that Ghana has discovered oil on our shores. I mean, in our territorial waters. So basically, um, I'm I'm part of a body of lawyers who advise clients who are trying to find oil or extract oil from our territorial waters. I also do, and oil is not the only natural resource we have. We also have gold. I mean, there's been recent talk about gold board and all of those things. So mining, galamsey, is all in the air, as it were.
Yeah.
And so also we advise mining companies and companies who also help mining companies. In the same way, we advise companies who also help oil and gas companies. So it's not just oil and gas and mining. We have other natural resources that we extract. So basically, anything that has to do with extractives, um, we do that. Also, infrastructure, real estate, land. People want to buy land. I mean, I may not go to court for you if you go and buy land and somebody says they own the land, but then I'm going to help you to buy the land.
Okay.
I'm going to help you to structure the agreements that you have to be able to buy the land, and also due diligence. Because I mean, Tina has been talking about it for a very long time. How to buy land in Ghana? You need to do your proper due diligence. Yes,
Yeah.
we do the proper due diligence for you to be able to buy the land. Yeah, and also I mean, infrastructure is very wide. There are projects, so construction. If you see that, for example, recently the Tema motorway is being expanded, you need lawyers to be able to help with that. Um, the
How do lawyers help with that? Somebody's going to construct a road. How do we need a lawyer in there? Help us to
well,
understand.
so if somebody is going to construct a road, for example, first of all, you're thinking about the regulator, because everything you do is affected by law. And
Okay.
in the country, the road is something that people are going to use. That means that the government takes an interest. So you're looking at, say, Ministry of Roads and Highways, or Ministry of Works and Housing. You're also looking at, now we have the National Roads Authority. It used to be the Ghana Highway Authority, right, who are interested in roads. So you are looking at whether the client has gotten the necessary permits and licenses from the different regulators. Now we are not only talking about the regulators for road. If you're constructing a road, it's going to affect the environment. So EPA, you are
Okay.
going to, yes, you're going to have, maybe you have employees, you have and people who work for you, all of those things are all regulated sectors in Ghana. And so
Okay.
making sure you're advising the client as to the different permits and licenses that they will need to be able to do that. That's just on a regulatory front. Then you're looking at on the contracts front, they are going to have agreements with several people, the people to supply different materials that they need, machinery, in fact, the money to be able to even get that financing. That's also something that the lawyers will advise on. Are they using a syndicated loan, for example? Like, are they getting money from different places? There are suppliers. There are people who are going to supply you with machinery or
Okay.
materials that you're going to
Okay.
use. There's also the supply of the machinery itself. There are the workers. All of those things are contracts that have to be drafted. And then you're also
Okay.
looking at financing. Just how are you getting the money to finance it? All of those things are things that you need agreements for. Because, for example, say we're in 2019 and we are constructing a road, and then COVID comes, and now all of us are supposed to be at home, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So then what happens to the contract? Because somebody is supplying the cement or the bitumen or whatever it is they use for the roads.
Yeah.
Some people are working. How is that going to work? Like, how are you going to restructure, whether it's the loan repayment or something like that? So all of these things actually require the work of a lot of lawyers.
Oh, great. A lot of lawyers. So, I mean, wherever you work, is it in Ghana here? Oh, you're talking about some outside the country
Yes,
kind of.
I work in Ghana.
You work in Ghana. So
Yes,
do
I
you
work
just
at
have
a
just
corporate firm.
a corporate firm? Do you just have three departments, infrastructure, oil and gas, or the other departments that other people work in and you work together?
Okay, so for the particular firm that I work at, we have four major departments. We have the disputes department, and then we have energy infrastructure, which is where I work, and then we have financial institutions and capital markets. Those are the lawyers who are into stocks, shares, bonds,
Okay.
basically things that the Securities and Exchange Commission will think about, banking and finance. Um,
Okay.
some of those things that happen on basically have to do with money and equity.
Okay.
Yes, and then we have the general corporate commercial team. They deal with labor and copyright. Basically, a lot every is very broad. So a lot of
Oh,
things that have to do with, yes, corporate
it's
commercial work generally. But I mean,
great.
aside from the team that handles disputes, the rest of us, we all basically do corporate commercial work. And so if you are working in a specialized area, you will still be doing corporate commercial work, whether it's mergers and acquisitions in terms of companies, um, yeah, tax advice for all the companies that work in the sector that you work in. So I can be doing tax for a petroleum company, and somebody in the financial institutions and capital markets will be doing tax for, say, a bank, or for a financial, yeah, company.
All right.
So
So let's say you have an oil and gas company, the client of the law firm, and then
yeah,
they have contract needs, then you draft contracts for them.
yeah.
They have to go and see a regulator and see what is happening, whether they are complying with environmental laws. You lead the discussions for them. You
Well, yeah, it depends. Sometimes, I mean, as a lawyer, you are either advising or advocating. And
okay.
sometimes you can be doing both. You can be telling the client that you need to go and get this license, or sometimes the
Okay.
client will say, can you please write a letter to the regulator asking? So basically
Get
you
the
are the
license.
middle ground, yes, but you're
Okay.
acting for the client. Yeah.
Okay. Then you talk about merger and acquisition. I mean, what I understand from law school, so like two companies are trying to join or come together to do business. And then what do the lawyers do for them?
Everything that has to be done, there's an agreement. There's
Okay.
always an agreement, and so the lawyers are drafting the contracts. Sometimes, especially when it comes to companies, there will be resolutions that are needed. Say the shareholders need to have a resolution, or the board needs to have a resolution. The lawyers are sometimes doing that for the clients. They are also advising as to whether this company that you want to acquire, due diligence on the company. Are they up to date on all their payments? Can they even do what they want to do? You see, because sometimes you have companies that are regulated, and so if they are regulated by a certain sector, say energy, power, um, um, all of those things, there are considerations. You need to look at what the law says about it before
Okay.
you can advise that yes, this company that you want to acquire, you can acquire this much for this much, or you can't acquire it at all, or you need permission to be able to acquire
Very
the
well.
company.
So now, if
Yeah.
there's someone in law school or the person is not about to enter law school, is there any special course that they have to do, or they have to take, like, they have to take some courses seriously, they have to take everything serious, or you have to do some special courses in law school before you can move into corporate law like you did?
Oh no, I think they have to take every course seriously, because first they want to pass, and they want to have a general understanding of the laws around you, because you'll be surprised sometimes how the different courses that you did will play out in in a transaction that you're doing, right? So, but generally speaking, if you want to go into corporate law, definitely you are taking your company law seriously, you are taking your commercial law seriously, banking, hire purchase, all of those commercial law related courses, you're taking them very seriously, because you'll be doing that on a regular basis. Um,
Okay.
yeah, sometimes you tell yourself that, oh, I don't like company law, and then you realize that that's what you'll be doing for the
All the time.
rest of
Yeah.
your legal life.
Yeah.
So yes, you need to take
Okay.
those seriously. I definitely did some in school. We didn't have those courses, were not mandated. It was voluntary courses that you could do. So I
Okay.
did natural resources. I enjoyed it, and I happened to be in the natural resources sector. Sometimes you can know, some people can do specialized, maybe banking law, like in-depth taxation,
Yeah.
in-depth. All of those things are very helpful when you
Yeah.
want to enter the corporate commercial field. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I didn't do natural resources, but I'm actually jealous right now because like that sounds like a lot of money. So let me ask, did you have to know a lawyer? Does your father have to be a lawyer before you can move to such areas? People think you don't know anyone, you can't move into such law firms. How did you get into this law firm? Maybe
I
that would
mean,
help.
sometimes the idea is that you have to know somebody. I mean, sometimes that's how things work in
Yeah.
certain areas. But no, I didn't know anybody. I just
Mhm.
applied with my CV. I got called for an interview, and that was it. And so I would say that as much as possible, you should try and be marketable. You should try and have a good CV. You should have good information. Have a great personality too. Sometimes it helps.
Yeah.
You make a good impression.
Yeah.
You make a good impression when you interview at a place. But yes, basically, um, it helps. For some people, they did internships before. Especially now that in the legal space we have a lot more lawyers than we used to have,
Yeah.
and so you need something to distinguish you. You can't just be sitting at home every vacation
Yeah.
like you used to do. Now
Yeah.
you need to have volunteering for different places, and interning at different places, so that you gain perspective, you gain experience. Yes,
Yeah.
so I would say that do your law school, go for internships, as many as you can, um, volunteer for different projects and programs, so that you look, you know, you are well grounded and you are more informed. Yeah. I didn't have to know
Okay.
anybody. It's helpful to
Do
network. I mean, if you are talking about like the knowing people in terms of networking, sometimes you attend some programs, you meet a partner of a law firm, you express that, oh, I'm a law student, I'd like to specialize in this particular area, or I find this area interesting. You never know. 5 years later, you meet the same person at an interview
yeah.
panel. Yeah, so networking is important. But it's not a matter of, my father knows somebody, my uncle knows someone, my mother is friends with. No. Yeah.
That helps. So now I think I didn't ask this important question. Someone may think, oh, maybe lawyer Duffy, she's been a lawyer for like 30 years or 20 years or something. So so how long have you been a lawyer? That will help so that other people will know that it's not like you don't have to wait for 10 years or
Yeah,
even 5 years
I've been a lawyer since 2022, so yeah, I'm going on 3 years.
3 years, you can still get into a law firm like that and get a
Yes, yes. I mean,
specialization.
I started straight away. So some of these law firms have a certain system where after your pupillage, your mandatory pupillage, some people do 6 months, which is what the law requires, but then others
Okay.
go ahead and do 1 year. After that, you basically start with your specialization. So for
Right.
my firm, after 6 months, I was in the energy and infrastructure space, and that's where I've been. So it depends on the law firm that you're at. Some law firms do general corporate work. You don't necessarily specialize like the way it is at where I work, where you have specializations that you move into. There's a general corporate space, and then there's sector specific specializations that you can do. But basically, you don't have to do maybe 5 years in general litigation practice before you can go into corporate. So you can go straight away. It depends on the kind of lawyer you want to be.
You want to be?
Yeah.
Yes. Now let's talk about career progression. You may have been in one firm for the past 3 years, but what do you see your seniors do? Do they leave the firm? Do they progress to the next stage? How does it work? So I know you have associates lawyers, then you move to some senior associate level, then become partners. Some also move and set up their own law firm. Like, what do you see others do in that field? And what's the next for someone who is now coming in? Right.
In some of these law firms, sometimes you have these big law firms. Some people stay and say on partnership track. They move through the ranks, however they are ranked, maybe associate, senior associate, managing associate, partner, senior partner, that sort of thing. That's what some people want to do. They want to stay in the law firm and rise up. Others also stay in a law firm for a while, get the experience, get the knowledge of the sector, and then either set up their own firms where they
Yeah.
replicate what they see, or they move in-house. So, you join the
How about
legal
that?
department.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you join the legal department of a company that you used to, and basically any company in Ghana has
You
a
can
space.
work there.
Yeah, for
Yes.
for lawyers. We are everywhere. There's very little that's done that a lawyer is not needed. Even in
Yeah.
football, the
I
players that
know.
they are buying this player. There's sports law. In entertainment, there's entertainment law. So there's
Yeah.
everywhere. You can move
Yeah.
anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
you don't have to
sports.
necessarily be at a firm.
So you can be in this corporate law firm. Then maybe in 5 years or 10 years, you say, okay, I think that I have gathered a lot of experience in banking. So I'm going to Republic Bank or Carl
Yeah,
Bank or whatever. Then you will be
yeah,
the legal advisor or whatever in that
yeah,
company. Or you
yeah,
can just say, okay, I'm going to be um, a lawyer for a footballer or footballers or entertainment guys, right?
yeah.
And what about litigation? Do you have to do anything litigation at all in your practice?
Well, so I said I haven't stepped in court since 2022, but
Yeah.
then somewhere I think somewhere last year we had a client who had, under the Borrowers and Lenders Act, there are specific timelines for registering a security, and
Okay.
if you don't meet the timeline, I think you have to
To
apply
go to
for.
court.
Yes, you have to apply for an extension. So sometimes, every once in a while, you will go to court for maybe an ex parte application, just to
But
extend the time.
but to be fair, that's not like litigation. That's like you going for the court to give you like more time to do something. So it's not
Exactly.
It's not
It's not
like we are fighting over something like how criminal law is or land matters are. This is
no,
like
but
you going to court to say, give me more time.
yes, well, sometimes you can have, so say I'm working for a mining company, and then the mining company has a problem with another, maybe they have a problem with one of their suppliers or something. It becomes a litigation matter because
Okay.
maybe they decided that the alternative ways of like resolving that dispute is not working. Maybe they are negotiating, it's not happening, they didn't have any arbitration clause, so they have to go to court. Then, we have to go to court, but if you work in a corporate firm where the court going or the litigation is done by a separate team, then we refer the matter to the
To
dispute
that thing.
team to
Okay.
handle it. If
Okay.
not, if you're in a firm that generally does corporate, but every once in a while they go to court, then hey, you find your robe and your wig wherever it is lying, and you go to court.
Okay. Then I mean that's fair. That's fair. But did you ever think of going into litigation, or you when you were in law school, all you're thinking about is corporate, corporate, corporate?
I hope that a lot of the law students here will understand that not everybody has it
Okay.
figured out. I didn't have it figured out. Like, some people
Yeah.
right from day one, level 100
They
of
do what they
law
want to
school,
do.
say, I want to be an energy lawyer. I want to be a finance lawyer. That wasn't me. I was just in for the ride and wondering, okay, I find international law interesting. Even now, there are aspects of our work that,
National
deals
law.
with international law. But I
Okay.
didn't know if I was going to go into corporate or litigation. I just happened to be in a firm, and the firm gave me the options of either doing litigation or corporate. And then I decided, okay, I want to do corporate.
Corporate.
And
Okay.
so, yes, sometimes some people have it all figured out that they want to do a particular thing, and that's great. But then sometimes you just feel your way through as you are going along. You realize that, oh, you have a developing interest in a particular area, and even in the corporate space. So, for example, I do energy and infrastructure, natural resources, but I have an interest in environmental matters, and so
Okay.
I now, because of the whole climate change and this global focus, there's a whole aspect of climate finance that's going on, and um, climate specific projects. We've heard of carbon credits and all of that. That's something I
Okay.
do. It's part of natural resources. It's something I do. So I'm even finding a niche even in
Within, yeah.
I, even in oil and gas, I'm finding a niche there. Even in mining,
Yeah.
I'm finding a niche. And so, as you're going along, sometimes you develop interest in certain areas. You can always move. It doesn't have to be one way. It doesn't have to be, cast in stone, as it were.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. That works. Now, does it pay? I mean, we're all talking about this, but money is a motivation most of the times. I mean, does it pay well, or is just you're managing, but does it really pay? Just
I think
to know.
whether it pays well is debatable in
Angel.
terms of like somebody's expectation, you know.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it depends on where you're working. Right.
Okay.
As with all the lawyers, where you're working will determine how much you're paid,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's also how much you're paid is as you're rising, you're paid more. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if there may be litigation lawyers who get paid more than I do or less than I do, but I wouldn't say that it's not a lucrative area of law to go into. It is lucrative. If you find yourself
Yes.
a place that are getting good clients, that means you're getting money, and so you'll be paid well. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's very lucrative, like in my opinion, right? So when you're starting, you get paid by someone. Of course, they will look at what they get to pay you. But now, if I'm able to master the act or whatever it is, master maybe let's say oil and gas, and I have a client who is bringing in about $200 million to come and set up a company, do some mining and oil and gas and all. I mean, lawyers we charge per percentages sometimes. So it's like if I'm going to get like 10% of like $200 million for my law firm. That's like a big deal. Of course, because we work as a team, they are going to find a way to pay everybody. So you are not going to get all of the percentage. But I think when you are starting, you humble yourself, you stay within the firm, you learn all that you can learn, then you decide what to do. And as you
Yeah.
rise, you get paid the more. And I sincerely believe it's lucrative. More
Yeah.
lucrative than representing a good thief and somebody who is.
It
It depends. I mean, it depends. Maybe when you're on your own as a litigation lawyer, that's maybe
I mean,
different.
yes, and it all depends on where you are working, really, Tina. I mean, it's something that we younger lawyers, it's a problem that sometimes we talk about,
Yeah.
working in a place where you are being overworked, but you're not being paid at what your work really is worth. And so I would say that where you are working, if you are working with a firm that doesn't, invest in its associates, then it's going to be a problem, right?
Yeah.
You will not be paid, enough to get by. And if you are thinking so much about how am I going to pay my next rent and all of that, how you have the peace of mind to work
To do
well.
work, yeah.
So work at a place where the employers actually have the best interests of the employees at heart, and
Yeah.
then they pay. Sometimes too, some firms have this commission system where if you bring in
Okay.
a client, you get a percentage of whatever the work was worth, right? It all depends on the individual um payment structure or policy in the firm. But
Yeah.
corporate law is not is I won't say that it's an area of law that when you go you will not get any money. No, no.
No, I would never believe that. Not
Yeah,
at all. So that's good. So it means if you want to work in the corporate law firm, you have to do the research to find out which law firm should you go to. Are they interested in their juniors? Do they invest in them? Do they have
yeah,
workshops, training opportunities?
yeah,
How is the career progression? Like, will you
yeah,
really grow when you are there? And sometimes the connections you make with your seniors help you to even know if you're moving into in-house, you're going to another
yeah,
company's legal department and all of that. That
yeah,
helps. Now, I think we've talked about advantages. No, not really, really, but we've talked about a lot of the good things in the law firm,
yeah.
in the corporate law firm. Do you have any special disadvantages that you think may affect someone who wants to go into corporate law firm?
Well, I wouldn't call them disadvantages. I'll just call them maybe challenges that
Okay.
you have to be aware of so that you know how best to navigate. Um, One of the things is for challenges with regarding the work itself. The
Yeah.
work itself, you can have a situation where, say, if I want to specialize in mining, that means I also have to really learn about mining and the commercial, like the industry itself,
Yeah.
the mining industry. You have to have knowledge about that, and sometimes you're going to like on the go as you are working with every transaction you're learning, right? Some
Yeah.
people also take courses to help them. And so the thing about specializing, I mean, when it comes to litigation, generally our legal system and our legal education is geared towards helping you to be a good litigator, right?
Yeah.
But then the other ones are like again, if it's natural resources, it's not necessarily a compulsory course that everybody has to do. If it's environmental law, it's not compulsory, and so
Yeah.
you have to take an interest and
Yeah.
learn those things. So that's one challenge. And also moving from the academic setting um, to the corporate commercial space. You know how sometimes in law school, maybe you're writing an exam, they say, "Hey, for every question you should write at least 3 pages, 4 pages,
Yeah.
that sort of thing." Yeah, you're writing a lot. When you enter the corporate commercial space, nobody has time to read a prose. Nobody's reading any long thing you're writing. Your writing has to become simplified. Your clients they don't have time to read a prose. It's not an academic
Yes.
setting. You're not writing a jurisprudence paper. So
Tell
your
them what to do.
exactly. So
Straightforward.
the writing becomes much simpler and to the point. And you are also, I
Yes.
mean, a lot of your clients are people who have knowledge of the industry. that you're working in.
Already.
And so
Yeah.
that black and white thinking that sometimes you have in law school, A, you're supposed to do A. The law says A, so A is what you're supposed to do. It has to go. Yeah, yeah,
Has to go.
yeah. In the corporate commercial space, you are advising people about how best to structure the things that they want to do. So you're not a police officer coming to tell them that they've broken the law or they're about to break the law. You are now coming to
Yeah.
help your clients within the boundaries of the law to do what it is that they want to do.
Right.
So you're
Yeah.
thinking, you have to learn to think outside the box. You have to learn to, while you have the legal knowledge, you also have to acquire commercial sense, because your clients will be making, yeah, your clients will be making commercial decisions in the corporate
Yeah.
commercial space. That's it. They are making commercial decisions. And as I said, a lot of the times the client, they know more about the industry than you did. You went to
More
sit in
than you
school
do.
and read jurisprudence and law of taxation, but they live it every day. And
Yeah.
so you have to, match up, basically have a good understanding of the industry they are working in. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean, so another challenge, I think sometimes in some of these corporate commercial spaces, it comes with long hours. It depends on where you're working, really. But
Yeah.
sometimes you have like transactions that, are long and there's high pressure, high value transactions, and it can be tasking in while the transaction is lasting. So those are some of the challenges that you face, um, yeah, in that space.
I love it already. I love it already. So is it not boring? People say, "Oh, corporate, you have to sit at one place and do this." It's boring. That's what litigation. You'll be going around and round and round. Is it boring? Because I don't
Well,
see this to be boring from listening to you.
no, no, no. So I think maybe sometimes your personality. Some people can't sit still, so they have
Okay.
to go to court. They have to come back and yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, it suits me. I sit behind the computer, and I just type. That's what I do. because,
Mostly.
because yes,
Okay.
mostly. Sometimes you are meeting clients. Sometimes you are going with clients to meetings and advocating for the clients. Just that you are not doing the glamorous, my lord, I am
Lord, my
counsel
Lord.
for the.
Yeah,
so,
I get it.
so yeah, and also if the area of law that you are working in is interesting to you, then
You learn more every day. There are new things every day.
exactly. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, I learned that bamboo is a grass. It's not a tree.
Bamboo.
I mean, look at how
That's
random it is.
something. That's something. I
Bamboo.
don't even know. That's
And you'd be
something.
surprised. Sometimes you have a client come, and the thing that you have to learn to be able to answer the client's
The
question, because
questions.
whether something is a tree or not,
The
it's
law will be
important.
different. Yes,
Exactly.
the law that affects the
Different.
tree and the
And the grass
grass
is
will be
different.
different. It's true. It's true. Oh
Yes.
yes. That's not boring
It's
at all.
very interesting. If you are in the area of law that you like, there are some people in my office who cannot stand like oil and gas, mining. But let's
Yeah.
talk about structuring a certain bond, a syndicated loan. This is going here.
Mhm.
This is going here. Hey, then
Yeah,
yeah,
excited.
they're
Oh,
excited. So
so this is sounding like Suits and all those American movies where people will be talking about big, big companies and like the
you know,
big things that they do.
I never saw Suits because I used to think that. In fact, I think I saw a clip on YouTube or something like that. I was like, you cannot come and do this in Ghana court. The judge will they please, please, please. You cannot come and do this
I
in Ghana
like
court.
that. I like that. But I think they
And
did
so it's
more
like
corporate in Suits.
yes, maybe those corporate episodes, those episodes that
Yes.
have to do with corporate law, of course, it's for dramatization. So really, you have to check
To
the
add
law.
more drama to it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not as sometimes it's not as glamorous as like the series and things like that make it look. It's sometimes it's just a normal day. You go and sit in the office, you type a memo to your senior reviews, it comes back to you. There's none of that drama.
I get it.
Yeah.
Even with litigation, people think we have all that drama in litigation, but it's not always like that. that you
Yeah.
catch your the witness crying in the box and admitting that, oh, it's true, I was lying. Nah, it doesn't happen in real
It doesn't
life.
happen
The
like that.
drama
You
is
know,
too much in the movies.
yeah, I mean, I remember one time I was at that time I was a student, and we're doing an internship in the law courts, and there was a divorce case, and the judge called the plaintiff, I mean the petitioner, and
Yeah.
said, no, you want to get divorced, but I want you to know that the marriage can be hard, but then the divorce is also hard. So is this what you really want? And and then I think the what do we call the other people? I forgot.
The respondents, the respondents or the court
Exactly.
workers, the respondent.
The respondent who got up and said that he's willing to work on the marriage. The petition's like, no, I don't want to work on it. I'm done. And
Yeah, that's
sometimes
drama.
I said,
That's
you know,
real life drama.
at that time you think, oh, it looks like yeah, just and all that, but then it's sad. The
Isn't it
point
not
is,
shade?
yeah, the point is, it's not as glamorous. I think sometimes the TV shows give law students and would-be lawyers a certain false impression. Life is not all dramatic, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's regular, and you have to
It's
learn to live
regular.
a regular.
Hard
Yes,
decisions are made. Yeah, I know people make hard decisions and lawyers have to help them.
yeah,
And that's really hard because
yeah,
sometimes when they are struggling, they rush to a lawyer to so that the lawyer will help make it easy for them.
mm-hmm.
And that's like somebody puts their whole life decision in your hands, and that's a hard thing to do. You have to be serious all the time, kind of. But when we get home, we are free, we are
Yeah,
normal people. If there are more questions from people, we may have to come back and record another video for them. But I love
yeah,
this. I have learned myself, Duffy. I have really learned. I'm excited. I'm glad we did this. I think now I'm overexcited. I have more questions,
yeah,
but I think I should wait so that people who have more questions would put their questions in the comment section. If we have to do this again, we may go live or we may invite other people to join the conversation. I intend to get prosecutors, other litigation inclined lawyers, people in other sectors, whether it's oil and gas or banking, get them to talk about what they do, excite some students and maybe lawyers who may want to switch to other
yeah,
areas of practice. And
yeah.
hopefully we can.
I mean, just to add to what you said, I think sometimes when you're a law student, if you don't have like a lot of career, like maybe career day where law firms and different people come and talk about the the practice of the law, you think it's black and white. You really think it's a
Yeah.
matter of I'm done, I wear the wig and gown, I go to court. And certainly that happens, but there's a bigger world out there that I mean, people also go into policy, so they don't even necessarily do corporate law or commercial law or litigation.
Yeah.
And even in litigation, some people specialize in a kind of litigation. There are divorce lawyers, there are corporate commercial. I mean, I work in a corporate commercial firm, so our litigation is heavily corporate commercial litigation, right? There
Yeah.
are people who specialize in land litigation because
Yeah.
that's also a thing, right? And so that everywhere you look around you, anywhere you look around you, there's law going on. And that's
Yeah.
what I want lawyers and law students to understand, that it's broad. It's much broader than you can think.
You always think, yeah.
Exactly. And there's just so much around you. There's international law. I loved international law.
I
And
know. I know. We had
yes,
one of the best lectures, so why
we
wouldn't
did.
you?
We
Why
did.
wouldn't you?
We did.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
international law also has its own thing. Sometimes you are doing international trade law. You have a client who wants to transport certain goods from Burkina Faso to Ghana. That's international law. You
Yes.
know,
With
sometimes
a
you
mix
you
of
have
commercial.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. There are always transborder transactions that you are doing, and so the law is all around you. Sometimes maybe some people go and sit at the UN, and help to draft policy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can also do consultancy work. Sometimes we have a project coming on, there's the legal due diligence that needs to be done. You can be a consultant, to consult on this area of law, this industry. These are the laws that are applicable. These are maybe local content requirements.
Yeah.
There are quotas that must be met in terms of how many Ghanaian employees you need. The law is all around us. And so I want people to know that it's very broad. Law is broader than going to court. I think the
Yeah.
2022 election petition sparked a certain
I
interest in law,
know.
and all
I
people
know.
saw was people standing on
Going to
their
court with their wigs and
yeah
gowns and saying my lord, and big English. Huh?
yeah
I know. I know. But it's broader than going to court. And I love that. I love that.
yeah
Although I'm in the litigation field now, I know I have plans of moving one day and it won't be like this forever. So don't ever get stuck anywhere you are.
yeah yeah
If you have to do an additional course, a certificate course, something, move, taxation, oil and gas, whatever, international law, move to another field.
yeah.
Explore, see what you can get from the other side. So one day
Even
when
the
you're talking about
army.
exactly, there's
You
so
and I
many
both did
places.
humanitarian law.
I know. I mean, there's a lot to discuss. This
Yeah.
is just the beginning of the discussion on such topics, and I'll come back to you with more lawyers. Let's see how this goes. Thank you, Duffy, for coming through
Thank
for
you for
us.
having me, Tina.
Until
Yeah.
we meet again, Duffy, have a good time and all the very best. I love you plenty. Thank you
I
for doing
love
this
you
for me.
too. Bye.
Bye.